And they said it couldn't be done. Hello. Nathan Bryant here with episode 3 of Chinese Laundry Radio. Tonight I am sitting with one of the first people I came out to when I was in the Brony fandom, Joseph Combs.
How's it going?
So, Joseph, the first question I want to ask you is, upon the day when I was in the computer lab and I was like, I need your help, and you asked me what the help was for, and I said, I'm becoming a brony, I don't want to, and you just walked away. What was going through your head?
Never thought that you would be into that.
Into that kind of thing?
Yeah.
At least I'm not a clopper.
Very true, very true.
But then shortly after I converted Derek, Connor, and Donovan, you got into the fandom too.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts on that?
At first I didn't like it, but kind of grew on me, I guess.
What made it grow on you, per se?
You just watch a couple of the episodes and it just can't really stop.
I know that feeling. No, this is the fastest I've ever opened this shit up. So, how's it going, man?
Pretty good. Trying to get an English paper done. It's due tomorrow that I haven't even started on.
Oh, am I interrupting anything?
It's all good.
Okay.
I'm probably not gonna finish it.
Who's it for, Ron Reed?
No, Jenny.
Jenny? Oh, you can get away with that pretty easily.
Just gonna email it to her tonight. Tell her I emailed it a couple days ago. Blackboard was messed up.
Blackboard's always messed up. That's the best thing to say.
Yeah. I need to fix that shit.
We're little hard asses. We're up at 2:14 at midnight.
That's what's up. School tomorrow.
Sorry, I had to send a text message. Hi, Texie, if you ever listen to this.
Dude, I just found one of the deepest quotes ever to start this paper out with.
What was it?
Live is the rarest thing in the world. Most people exist, that is all.
Okay, then.
Right?
Yeah. Anything you want to talk about? I mean, I can run this from anywhere to 20 to 40 minutes.
It's whatever you want to do, dude.
Alright. Well, what do you want to talk about, you know?
Talk about how big of a faggot James is.
Alright, how big of...
Let's go there, yeah.
How big of a fag is James?
Pretty big fag.
What makes him a big fag?
Just his whole demeanor. Just a fag.
Okay. Name something that you think makes him a fag.
Well, I recently actually got to read some of his story.
Oh.
Yeah, that makes him a fag. That whole story makes him a fag. I didn't even read all of it. And that makes him a fag.
You have to have, like, this brain aneurysm tolerance.
I don't have that high of a tolerance. I just don't.
Because, like, when he first started writing, like, he was uploading somewhere from, like, 4 chapters a day. And it was just getting ridiculous. Like, he finished his first story, 21 chapters. The pages and chapters weren't really that long, though. It was about, like, 2 pages per chapter.
You can't do 2 pages per chapter.
I know.
I don't even write, and I know that.
But he finished it in like 2 weeks. And it was just ridiculous.
You can't write a good story, a good full story in 2 weeks.
Take a hint, Hunger Games.
No, you can't. I like the Hunger Games.
Oh.
I liked it.
You guys might hear a fight tonight.
I liked the Hunger Games personally.
Why?
Because it gave a different outlook on like a post-apocalyptic scenario.
Yeah, dystopia.
It's not like, you know, you're fighting zombies. It's not one of those.
I enjoy those.
I mean, I enjoy them too, but it's good to have a different outlook on a post-apocalyptic situation. And in this situation, it kind of looks like we're going.
Okay, let me ask you this: have you ever heard of me talk about Battle Royale?
Yeah.
Check that out, and you'll understand why the Hunger
I
Games
watched
is
it.
shit.
I watched it. It's pretty good. Yeah.
movie that was made in Japan, based off a book written in Japan. The sequel was never written, but the movie was made. Decent movie, but okay.
Yeah. Not great.
Not great, but...
Did you read the entire Hunger Games series?
I did.
You did?
I did, and I felt like I was reading a fan fiction that was written in one night.
Really?
Yeah.
I
Especially Catching Fire.
Catching Fire, I will give you that.
Even,
not their best work.
Even Effie, like, looked at me and was like, I understand, Nathan, it was so bad. It was like she sat up and wrote it in one night with no coffee.
Well, like, the thing is, like, the original, the first one, the Hunger Games, kind of actually, like, I don't know, kind of get the background for Katniss.
Yeah, but you didn't get the background of what happened. Yeah, is another thing
that's one thing I didn't like about it. That's one thing I expected when I read Mockingjay in the final book of the series was to kind of get the kind of get what happened to everything and how the districts were created but I never got that. That's one thing. I think if they would have done that, it would have been a far better read and a far better movie. Yeah. No, the thing about the movie is you can't turn that book into a movie. There's too much going on. They did it. And what I was really looking forward to seeing out of one of the things I did like in the book was how the Beast were actually the kids who got killed, you know, and that was made to mess with them. And when the dude who gets knocked off the top of the cornucopia and he gets mauled by the beasts, he was actually supposed to be an unnoticeable pile of mess, but you could still hear him screaming, and all they did was just have him maimed right there. There was no brutality about it. Like, I think they could have done that a lot more justice. I think one of the reasons they didn't do that a huge amount of justice the way they should have was because the book was made for more of a senior class high school kind of thing, or maybe a college read, depending on what your professor's like. But a special ed professor. I think the movie was more meant to be driven towards children, maybe a younger audience. But I don't think they did what they could have. But like I said, one of the biggest things they were missing was plot progression. They didn't give the background of why anything happened or how anything happened. I'm working on a song about the Hunger Games right now, actually. Oh yeah? Yeah, it's I can sing a bit of it for you if you want to hear it. Okay, let me see here. It starts off dun 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 dun. Okay. I remember going to high school on that faithful rainy morn. I was handed a book about a little girl. I remember reading those first two promising chaps, but all that's dead and gone now that I finished it. Don't read this shit. It'll make you pissed. And that's all I've got so far. But it's a good progression. Got a little Jew in the back of my truck. Got a little Jew in the back of my truck. Gonna open up the doors and beat him up. Gonna stomp my boots in the Auschwitz mud. Gonna watch that little Jew burn the fuck up. Get up in the oven of Hitler's tractor. I wish I still had my iPhone because I had that whole thing saved on there. Oh, we probably just offended several people. Yeah, I don't even care. I thought the show was supposed to be about ponies, but whatever. So let's talk about books and movies that we actually like out of a series. Harry Potter. Harry Potter was great. Great series. I hate how the last movie ended. Hated that shit. I don't need your help. I hated that shit. And Dobby dying. Dalby, oh god, that tore my heart. I cried. The main reason I cried about it is because my ship that never happened. Yeah, I wanted Hedwig and Harry to get together so bad. You know, I swear there are ships out there like that. That's never gonna happen. No, it's not. Basically, every My Little Pony ship. Not one of those ponies is ever gonna become a lesbian. I hate to tell these people. And my buddy, Ryson, who I love to death, he is awesome. Is he? Yeah, you tell me about him. Yeah, Ryson's a cool guy. And he does write fan fiction, really good fan fiction. I thought I could never
same-sex fan fiction.
Right.
But his make me so sad.
Really?
Yes. Like, they're very interesting. Even though it is lesbian ponies, they're very interesting.
So, like, there's actually a storyline?
Yeah.
Not just
He's got several written.
It's like a cloud fiction.
No, there's, like, when he doesn't even really write the clop. Like, he will put some provocative things in there, but he never writes what's going on.
Okay.
Kind of like how when I was working on Doran Drog, my story about the medieval elves, and whenever it would go to a sexual scene, it would be like, they go upstairs, we're done. You don't get to read that.
You get to use your imagination.
You know what happens.
Yeah. Which brings me to this, like, elf sex. That's just, I don't know.
Well, you got to look at it like the Lord of the Rings elves instead of the Christmas elves.
Okay. That's better.
Because
I can do that.
Medieval elves are actually taller than except in Dragon Age, but
I'm pretty sure
they're about 2 feet taller than dwarf. But
yeah, what legally classifies a dwarf?
Dwarf, okay, Hobbit is 4 feet. Dwarves are anywhere from 3 to 5 feet.
Okay.
They're really stubby, bulky, and have beards.
Zach Miller.
Yeah.
Okay. For those of you who don't know, Zach Miller's about 5'4"?
Yeah.
5'4", chubby fellow. We call him the nub.
The nubby little.
The nubby little porker.
Nubby little porker.
Good guy.
Oh shit, he is a good guy.
He is a good guy.
And if he hears that, he's like, "Oh, faggots are talking about ponies,"
Some bitches.
and then they bring me up.
How did I get in this? Oh, good times.
Very good times. Well, I suppose you know what. Since I haven't really done this, but I want to.
Well,
I want to tell people about how I've met the person that I'm interviewing.
Oh, great story. Great story.
Okay. When you come in, I will let you finish from where your point of view was.
Sounds good.
So, I grew up on a street called Poplar Street, where I was the only mixed child of a half-breed of Mongolian and Caucasian. And, Irish, to be fair. And the rest of the kids on the street were black. And my best friend for, like, the longest time, Dion Harris, his dad called me the cream filling because I hung out with all the black kids, so we were the Oreo group when we hung out, but whatever. Anyways.
There was a little more cookie than there was cream.
There was. It was one of them you buy at the Dollar General. There's no damn cream in this. What the hell is this shit?
I just spread a little bit on there. I didn't even think it was.
But me and Dion, we played basketball on the street every day. I made it sound like we're gangsters. We play basketball on the street, yo. Real talk.
People in the hood.
People in the hood. But we played basketball every day, and we had gym together, which was like, when we found out we had gym together, it was like, oh yeah.
Keep in mind, my friend Dion, he had a learning disability.
Yeah.
Whenever he was in middle school.
He was ADHD just like me, but Dion never really got the medication like I got.
Yeah.
Well, me and Dion are playing basketball. And this kid, I'm not going to mention his name. We'll call him Zach Stream Noodle. His first name was Zach, but we'll call him Zach Stream Noodle. Okay, yeah. Anyway, Zach Stream Noodle comes up to us and smacks the ball out of Dion's hand and then pushes him. And he looks at Dion and goes, I don't know why you African Americans, that's me censoring the N-word people, he said, I don't know why you African Americans always have to be playing basketball. And Dion was a very sensitive fellow at the time, and he just didn't know what to say. He was shocked. No one really ever said that to him to be hurtful. And he starts to tear up a bit, and I'm just like, Dion, I've got this. Go tell Coach Cos. So he goes to tell the coach that was in the gym.
I wish he does nothing.
And he doesn't do a dang thing.
That's not what fast does.
And I go after Zach. I stop him at the door, and I'm like, you're not leaving, man. You're taking the fall for what you just said. And he punched me, so I punched him back. And he kind of landed on the floor, and then he gets back up, and right as he's about to swing at me, someone comes out of nowhere and knocks this kid flat.
That's me. This is actually, that was my first year at Hazard, actually. Yep. I just switched over from a county school. I switched over to the city in 7th grade, I believe, when it was.
Mm-hmm.
And no, it was my second 8th grade year. That's what my first 8th grade year.
Your first 8th grade year.
And well, I didn't really know anybody at the time, but like, I've been picked on like when I was in the county schools, and I took up MMA and stuff. So I hated to see people getting picked on because that's what had happened to me for so long. And when I see him getting ready to take a swing at him, and I heard what he'd said, that doesn't fly with me. So I knocked the kid flat, get him up against the wall, and he had a lip ring, which he no longer has because I ripped that son of a bitch out. And then we proceeded to kick and punch for a little bit, and then finally let him go.
After we proceeded to beat this kid half to death, the next day, me and Joseph see each other at the hall. We're like, "Oh yeah, man, that was awesome!" And it was close to the local festival, the White Gold Festival here in Kentucky.
Good times.
And we were like, "Hey, let's hang out there, man!" And ever since then, me and Joseph have been like really good friends. We've hung out every weekend for the past like 3 years now.
3 years, somewhere around there.
Well, wait, I take that back because the skating rink year, so I'm gonna say a good 5 or 6.
Okay, yeah, we'll count. Yeah, definitely. You gotta count the skating rink.
We used to go to the local skating rink, get on roller skates, and pick up chicks.
No,
roller skate backwards by them, just like, "Hey baby, how's it going? You ever play Ocarina of Time? It's a pretty good game. Follow me."
You're like, hell yeah.
That guy's got swag.
Backcountry, best song ever.
Okay, the local skating rink we have plays a lot of like, they had the Now CDs, like from Now, that's what I call music.
It was
13, 14, all that with, Justin Timberlake's I'm Bringing Sexy Back. And there was one song that gave us hope for a brighter tomorrow that they would play, and that was Avenged Sevenfold's Backcountry. And the second we heard it, we were sitting down, we were like, "Get up on the floor, we're going."
For those of you who don't know what Backcountry is, by a group called Avenged Sevenfold, and the song was actually written about a movie called The Fear of Loathing in Las Vegas, about a man who goes to Las Vegas after he got a divorce. And all he does the entire time he is there, he parties, he goes to the clubs, he goes to the casinos, and he does a lot of drugs. So it switches from a really fast pace with a lot of guitar solo, a lot of drums, to this really, really mellow beat. And we would switch our skating style accordingly.
1 minute it's roller derby, the next minute just going back and forth with our arms spread out like we're eagles, and all you hear is ah.
It's a pretty good time.
It's a pretty good
pop
time.
Pop lock and drop it.
Yeah.
We got to where we could pop lock it and drop it while we were skating. It was pretty great.
I'm going to end this right now, and then I'm going to pick up in a second segment. So go over to the next video, and that'll be it. Yeah, I hate that limiter. Welcome back. Now, the next story that I really, really love, because this is kind of a part of who I became today. In 8th grade, we had this teacher named Miss Carter, and me and Joseph had...
Love that woman.
Yeah, she's incredible. Me and Joseph had her the same class, and it was an English class where we got to read awesome books like Holes, Hoot.
Not.
Oh, God, not.
Not by Elie Wiesel.
God. Anyways, me and Joseph would dick around because Miss Carter loved us. And we couldn't really get in trouble as long as we got our work done. And one day I'm doing voices from Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged and all this other stuff, and Joseph has finally gotten used to my hyperactiveness, and he finally just pops the question. He's like, "Dude, are you ever going to do speech?" For those of you who don't know what the speech program is, it's acting. You read scripts, books, short stories, and such things, and there's even one for improv story for that and later. Joseph knows what story I'm talking about, or we scared the hell out of the guy.
I thought you were talking about the non-flashbacks.
No, that was Interp.
Oh yeah, that was.
But I was like, well, tell you what, I'll join you freshman year of high school, because it was a little too late for me to join up. So freshman year rolls around, I sign up, and me and Joseph get paired together as Interp and improv partners.
Quick explanation of duo interpretation of the literature. It's a dual acting piece. Both of you receive a script. You have a maximum of 10 minutes to perform it, minimum of 6. And you cannot face each other.
You have to stand side by side. And to say if I was to punch Joseph, we would be standing side by side. I would swing my fist, and he would act like he just got hit.
Like we were standing in front of each other. It's pretty hard to get the movements down pretty crisp.
And we did a humorous piece about martial arts. What was the title of it? Taekwondo what?
Yeah.
Taekwondo what is what it was called. And we had to actually act out Kung Fu, so it got really, really difficult. Because when we were actually supposed to be standing side by side in the script, we had to be back to back. And it got really difficult. But I played a little nerdy kid who was being beat up. And Joseph, the character's best friend, was a martial artist who wasn't too good of a teacher.
Yeah.
And, well, I'm getting picked on by this bully called Metalhead. And they call him Metalhead because he's got metal braces and a metal plate in the back of his head. And he's a bully. So, eventually the little guy comes up and he's like, yeah, teach me Kung Fu. And teaches him martial arts, and all that other stuff.
Well, attempts
to teach him martial arts. And when we actually made it to state with this piece, and we did really good. But we get this judge who has been so serious the entire night. There's these kids getting up there doing scripts where they're actually allowed to cuss in a high school thing. And we're like, well, shit, we're screwed. We're screwed. And me and Joseph had gotten to where we realized that we could throw some improv in there for whatever we think made it funny.
Oh, a quick thing. The reason we could do this, even though it was based on a script, the judge doesn't have the script, so they don't actually know what you're supposed to say.
And, well, there's the end of the story where... You know what? Let's try and remember it. Let's act out.
Oh, Lord.
Okay. I'm coming in limping.
I don't remember.
It was like, how'd it go?
How'd it go?
Well, I hit him.
And?
I was there. Oh, my blood was flowing. I could smell his fear. I jumped up, spun my leg around, and drop-kicked the principal.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I got 3 months detention now.
Well, at least the bully might know not to pick on you anymore.
He has detention too.
Oh, well, what about the principal?
Well, after my foot made connection with him, he instantaneously slammed into a trash can, rolled down a flight of stairs, and I accidentally gave the man a nom flashback.
Rough stuff, man.
And the second I said nom flashback, the man who had been keeping a straight face this entire speech tournament falls out of his chair onto his side, dying of laughter. And me and Joseph just kind of look at each other because he's not paying attention to us anymore. We're like, we got this. And we got 2 out of 5 likes, so we didn't make it to finals. But as we're going in on that final day to watch everybody get their awards, that judge stops us and tells us that we were the best he saw out of the entire tournament. And that kind of gave us hope for a brighter tomorrow.
Yeah. Sadly, Nathan didn't do it his junior or senior year.
Yeah, I tried to do it my sophomore year, but me and Helen were having some issues.
Yeah, I went on junior and senior year to be inducted into the National Forensics League.
Yep. But since I've actually done it and I do have experience, I can be a speech judge, which I'm actually signing up for next year, and I can't wait to go relive this bit of nostalgia of my high school life.
Great stories, man.
But the story I was talking about, improv. In improv, the judge hands you a piece of paper with something written on it. And you have to come up with a skit within 1 minute and act it out off the top of your head.
Was it 1 minute when we did it?
You have to last 5 minutes.
Well, I mean, how much time did we get to prep? I can't remember how long.
1 minute.
We did it. What was it? 1 minute?
Yeah.
Because my senior year they upped it.
Well, we go in this room because me and Joseph had other pieces to do, and we were a tiddly bit late, but we were excused because we were at where we were supposed to be. And we get in there and there's nobody else in there. So it's a rather dark room, and it was in a hotel, keep that in mind. So we're standing in a hotel room with like 1 bed. The judge is sitting over at the desk, and he's like, okay, here's your piece of paper, you got 1 minute. We look on the piece of paper, and it says, 2 outcasts at the high school prom. And when you think Outcast, you think Steve Urkel, the little nerdy kid with his pants pulled all the way up.
The tricky thing about improv is they don't always tell you whether it's supposed to be serious or funny, so you kind of make it into whatever you interpret that particular situation to be.
And how Joseph and I interpreted two misfits at the prom was a single fellow who had voices in his head and another man who was a psycho-schizophrenic. These were our misfits at the prom. We open up. It turns out my prom date is one of the voices in my head.
Yeah.
I walk up arguing with myself to Joseph when I finally just ask him where his prom date is, and he proceeds to tell me that he killed her and buried her behind Lowe's. Eventually, we went to Lowe's in this skit and started stealing more things, because we were also kleptomaniacs. And we ended it by hot-wiring a car and leaving the prom. Now, by the time this entire gratuitous, gut-wrenching gore fest of a skit was over, the judge just simply looks at us with his jaw open and goes, if there's anybody else outside the door, just send them in and you guys can go. I'm pretty sure we scared that guy.
He didn't judge that next year either.
I think we fit. I'm done. Can't take these psycho people no more. We done. Radio Bam, we out.
We done. I can't do this no more.
Crazy
ass kids.
Talking about killing their prom dates and burying them behind Lowe's.
Good times.
Very
times high school was.
Yeah, except for the few bad choice of women I decided to date.
And all the bad women. I dated a lot of girls in high school.
I got stuck with girls who had freaky fetishes. You got stuck with girls who
were whores.
Yeah. Oh.
I made some pretty shitty decisions in women. Just hit me.
Oh God! Remember Krakow?
God Almighty.
She was one of the most adorable girls I had ever met, and I'm willing to say that even though I have broken up with her, she's cute. She's cute. And what made us connect was she was already having guy issues, and I didn't even like her at the time. And she was also having friend issues, and me and her just started talking on MySpace and at school. Whoa, MySpace! Damn! Shit, we're old!
We are old. Let's bring MySpace back.
Let's bring MySpace back.
Got him.
Oh, okay, anyways. Let me get my walker out and finish the story, because apparently I'm an old son of a bitch.
God, we are old.
Okay, and eventually I asked her out with the help of Joseph, and me and her started dating. The first 2 months were great because it was just me and her talking about anime, nerdy stuff, and everything just kind of flowed great. We talked every night, and, well, we got to month 3. This is where things started to go downhill.
This is the Jared's book.
Yeah, this is where she starts. Okay, I'll just put it this way. I called her one night, and she was a little off. Like, I couldn't really understand half the things she was saying. And then she's like, I'll be right back. And she leaves for about 5 minutes. And I just set the phone down, put it on speaker, and continued to play my video game. And she comes back, and she's like, I'm going to go to bed. And I'm just like, oh, okay, she's just tired. And I was like, okay, good night, love you, and all that other shit. And she goes to bed, and the next day she was like, I don't even remember you calling me. And I was like, oh, well. And we continue to talk about this conversation, and it turns out she was drunk that night. Freshman.
At this point, we didn't necessarily approve of that kind of behavior.
Eventually you get used to it after going to a city school. But you realize there's going to be those idiotic alcoholics. Anyways, I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's really not a good thing. And she stopped drinking from me. And later on, it turned out that she was not only drinking behind my back, but she was also smoking weed. And all these other crazy things. And eventually, she told me that I changed. And my first thing was, I changed? 2 months ago, me and you were talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! And now you're smoking pot. You're getting drunk and crunk and YOLO and shit. And eventually, after I shed many man tears, we broke up and we became friends, and we're still friends. But that's just one of the bad choices I made in high school.
We made every bad choice with women in high school, dude.
Yeah.
Hell, I made a whole senior year's worth of fucking mistakes on one bitch. She turned out to be a fucking cunt.
You want to share that story?
Dude, how much time we got left? Well, we got 8 minutes. I'm not gonna tell it.
Alright.
Started dating this girl. Little backstory on her. I became friends with her brother. My 7th grade year when I first switched to high school. He was the first friend I ever made. Around I think my 2nd, 8th grade year maybe, he came out to me and told me he was gay. And I mean, I was cool with it because I mean, I don't really have anything against gay people. So I mean, me and him continued to be friends through high school. I stopped talking to him after he graduated. He kind of moved away and everything. And his sister, who was 4 years younger than me, maybe when I first started dating her. I was a senior, she was a freshman, and I started dating her because her boyfriend was treating her like shit. And I ended up fighting. Well, I didn't fight him. I busted his head on a fucking metal gate, but did that, and me and her got together, and I really spent. I guess I invested way too much time with her, and pretty much dedicated everything to her. I gave up soccer scholarships to go to pretty much any school that I wanted to on a full ride. Gave that all up to stay here in Hazard, which actually ended up not being too bad of a deal because I still got all my friends and stuff. But what happened was over the summer she went on vacation to Myrtle Beach. And before this, me and her had been having problems, but we finally cleared things up over guys trying to get with her and stuff. And I didn't want to have to fight every guy in the county. But she went to Myrtle Beach for vacation. I was going to go with her, decided not to. But something told me that I should have gone. Well, it turns out I was right because I think on day 4 of her being gone, a guy named Dale Fletcher added her on Facebook, and I asked her, I was like, who's Dale? And she's like, well, he's a guy that's down here with my cousin. I was like, oh, okay. So I didn't think anything of it. That same day, she's like, well, I'm going to eat with the family and stuff. I'll text you when I get back. I was like, alright. So she texted, and I told her I loved her. And she told me she loved me, and that was the last message I got that night. The next day, she started acting really weird. And didn't know why. I just thought it was where she'd been gone for almost a week. The day after, when she started coming home, I could tell something was wrong. But I didn't know what. Keep in mind, this man right here can tell you, any of my friends can tell you, I treated her like a queen.
Yeah.
We'd only been dating 6 months when Christmas rolled around, and I spent almost $400 on a gold inscribed cross necklace for her, solid gold, and has her original, not lab created, but a real ruby in the middle, which she still has. I didn't think about getting that off of her, but anyway, the day she got back, I went to her house and met her there, and you know, it was exciting for me because I hadn't seen her in a week. But and everything was fine. I mean, no, she wasn't acting weird no more. But I could still tell something was wrong. So I asked her 3 or 4 times, "Is anything wrong?" She kept saying no. And eventually, I've been there for about 3 or 4 hours, and we both fell asleep. Well, I woke up before she did, and I woke her up, and I was like, "Listen," I was like, "Is there anything wrong?" And she's like, "Well, I gotta tell you something." I was like, "Okay." She said, whenever I said I was going out with my family, I actually went with Dale and walked on the beach. I was like, okay. And she said I kissed him. At that point, I pretty much lost my mind. I mean, I started crying. I went ballistic, and I told her I needed time to think, so I left. And I went to a park up here where we live, and called Nathan up, and came to his house that night, emotionally destroyed.
didn't last long. Because me and you were getting too high.
Yeah, but after a while, I got better, and I talked to him about it, and he told me if I really loved her, then everybody deserves a second chance. So I went to her house the next day, and turns out I told her that I wanted to stay together, and she said that and she ended up breaking up with me. Well, in the few weeks that passed, I lost my mind. I broke my hand, busted my car up, busted the fence off her porch. I lost my mind. But over the weeks that passed, we texted on and off. She got mad at me, stopped texting me. We started texting again. Eventually, told me that she told me that she hated my guts, and that she actually had sex with that guy on the beach and didn't just kiss him. And I plan on going to the Air Force after this year, and she told me she could care less whether I died over there or not. So needless to say, I wasted about 10 months of my life on a heartless whore.
We gotta figure out something funny real quick before we have to end this note on a very sad.
Yeah, let's see here. Funny story.
Your dad punched a chicken.
My dad did punch a chicken. We have like 40 chickens and 2 pigs at my house. And me, Nathan, my brother, and my friend Tyler were all over my house, and the chickens kept getting out of the coop somehow, and we couldn't figure out what it was. And we figured out they could fly. They could flap their wings just hard enough to get on top of the fence. So one of the chickens was on top of the fence, and Tyler started yelling at it, trying to get it off, and it wouldn't listen. My dad casually walks by it and punches that chicken straight in the chest and knocks it off into the dirt. Which I thought was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
I absolutely love animals, and that's hilarious. Just because you hear it's like, who punches a chicken?
Yeah. Like, who punches chickens in the chest? What the hell?
Greg Combs, that's who punches chickens. Wearing mullets and playing drink to beer since the 1970s.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, we're out of time. So, that ends this episode of Chinese Laundry Radio. If you would like to be interviewed on Chinese Laundry Radio, hit me up on DeviantArt, add me on Skype, and all that other fun shit. So, have a good day.